Hello and welcome back to Embark EMR. In this tutorial we're going to be talking about the admin section. So starting here right from when you log in, I'm going to click Access My Practice. Now up here in the top right corner is admin. It's this gear icon. So I'm going to click that and we're in the admin section. So the purpose of the admin section is for the practice owners and admins to be able to manage the aspects of the practice. Now, only the owners and admins will have access to this section. So this first tab is Practice Details. This has the information about your practice. When you started, you can manage your logo, your practice information here, and all of this information will automatically show in the header of each of your documents. So enter it once and you're done. Now below that there are a few different sections. This first one is for your business liability insurance. Completely optional. Nobody else sees this. So the purpose is if or when something ever may happen, you have a quick reference location to find that information instead of having to pilfer through a whole bunch of emails or files. So completely optional. Our practice just thought it was helpful. Now we can manage our client profile fields. So what this is specifically for the medical history section. Now down in this box there are, I think, 12 different fields that we can customize. The top 3 you are able to customize the titles, and the rest of them are just most things like a lot of people just ended up generally needing. If some of these are not applicable to how you intend to be operating, then just uncheck the box and they will be hidden. You can always add them back. Now these text boxes here, you're able to open this up and then type in some prompting questions specific to your practice or specific things that you want to know. Now whatever is in these boxes, these will show in the client profile, in the client portal, and in their profile. So when they log in to fill out your intake paperwork, they will see your prompting questions and then they can adjust and answer them as appropriate. Next part is your consent documentation. So this section, everything that you would insert into these boxes would reflect in the client portal for your client to review and then electronically sign. Now, there are a number of sections here for you to fill out and customize. If some of them are not applicable to how you intend to operate, then just like uncheck the box like the other section did, and they will be hidden. These sections do come pre-populated if you need to use it. Now, there is that disclaimer saying this is not legal advice and it may not meet your practice's state or your general requirements for how you intend to operate. The information within here is based upon sort of best practices and advice from our own legal counsel, but it is good for, let's say, a general practice in a random state. So every state and every practice is going to have their own requirements. How we like to think of it is more of an 80% solution for new practices. It would save you a ton of money instead of having a lawyer draft it from scratch. If you already have your own language, then just delete that and then begin typing in your specific information here. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of boxes here for you to customize and update. I collapse that. You can always at any time access your business associate agreement that you have with us. This section here, you may remember from when you started your practice, is any additional covered parties. So this might be, let's say, a biller. So you would have your biller information here, and let's say you might want to capture just some additional information about them, maybe their tax ID or contact address, whatever other information that you would deem appropriate to have in your other covered parties aspect. And then all the language of the business associate agreement is within this link. Now, the other section is the download practice data. So, for whatever reason you might need it, you can download your practices data by clicking that button, and what it would do is it's going to generate a large table with all of your information in it. This next spot here, services and billing codes. Right here we can add all of the services and information for your practice. These are effectively the products or services that you're going to be offering your clients. You can add as many services as you want. We have the name, the procedure code, the CPT code, your cost, and then if you wanted to bill on, say, a unit or time basis, you can add that information in as well. All of these columns are completely optional. You could click add with nothing in there and you're going to get a completely blank line, which doesn't really do you any good, but you can still do it. So on here you can always manage and edit this. So let's say I've got service number 3 and previously it was $38. Well, we're going to increase our prices to $45. Well, what that does is it will change and update all of your services going forward, but it doesn't change or revise anything that's already happened, so you don't have to worry about that. Next, we have employees. So this first tab, top part here, is just your employees, the people that are actually added into your practice. We can click edit on this particular person and maybe dismiss them from the practice. So maybe they're not needing to be a part of you anymore. Now that is how you would get rid of someone from the practice and remove their access from all of your practice's information. So that would be at someone's dismissal. That is going to what you're going to want to have to do. Additionally, if you have your employee compared to the admin, the employee would not be able to have access to this admin section. Again, that can be managed directly from the edit section. If I go to add new employee, we have some information on how to do so. The basic role access and what roles, what people would have access to the different information. And then finally, add their employee. So let's say I'm going to add person at employee.com. So I can see email not found. Well, okay, so that means that this person does not have an account. If I were to go to appointments at embarkemr.com, it's going to search and it says, hey, we found it. I can then say, this is their name, this is their provider ID, which doesn't mean anything to you. I will set their role that I want to have them within the practice. And now here is, do I want them to have access to my financial information? This may or may not be appropriate for how you intend to operate. Let's say if you hired a 1099 employee, it most likely would not be appropriate for them to see how much you're billing or any of that other information. So you can uncheck that box and they would not have access to your billing information. Let's go back and look at this person and employee. They don't have an account. That means according to Embark, this person doesn't exist yet. So let's add them. So let's call them Joe Greg. They're going to have an NPI of whatever that might be. And I'm going to set them as an employee, and then they don't need access to the accounting. So you can also assign someone as a biller. When you click submit, they will receive an email with instructions on how to set their password and gain access to your practice and begin working. Next, licenses. So this first area is where we can manage the licenses. I can see all of the licenses that we've purchased for the practice. If you have trial licenses, you'll actually see it says trial right there under the subscription type. We can track and see which Embark enhancement features that we may have added into our account. We have document uploading, unlimited appointment reminders, and secure messaging. when was that license purchased, when was it expired, and how many days are remaining on that particular license. Additionally, there's this new column called bonus months. So that is where, let's say if you refer somebody to the Embark EMR, we want to reward you a bit with some months, some bonus months that'll be added onto your account, added onto your license, and it would just extend it even further. Licenses are issued on an annual basis. So let's say you've already purchased the license for Andrew, but Andrew left your practice. So I'm going to go here and I can actually reassign that license to somebody else in my practice. So you don't have to purchase another one. So a common use for this is a practitioner may have gone on maternity leave and hired a 1099 person to come in and cover their caseload while they're gone. Well, they can add that person as an employee, maybe even remove their access to the billing and financial information, but then just transfer their license to that new person while they're covering your load. So pretty easy, and it's pretty great too. All right, to add a license, we're going to go to add new license. First step, I'm going to pick a provider to add a license for. So let's go ahead and do me. Then the subscription, there's only one option. There were more, but I deleted the other ones and just stuck everything in the base. It's simpler that way. So there is a cost, and right here on the right hand side we can see all kind of the things that are going to be coming along with that annual subscription. And that is one of the key things here, is many EMRs, they do advertise, or most, if not everyone, advertises monthly. Now some of them do daily, but it's a little bit sketchy. So the pricing on that might be $6 per day, starting at $6 per day. Embark is $20 per month. We pay it annually, and that is for a very specific reason. Our practice on a previous system had some concerns and issues with the software company adding on additional hidden fees. And those hidden fees really began to stack up over time, and we got tired of it. So what this paid annually means is you pay it all up front one time. You don't have to track multiple line items on your bank statements, but I can't charge you any extra fees even if I wanted to, because I'm not going to store your credit card. And now we have that true financial transparency on your license and ability to maintain that cost. Now we've got the experience enhancers. Like I mentioned before, there's unlimited appointment reminders. There's some information right here. There's the secure messaging, and then there's document storage. So each of these comes on at a fairly low price in terms of what you're going to be getting. If we don't want those, then we would just uncheck those boxes, and our price updates. We can see we've got the full year, $240, which honestly that's like the price of 2 months with everybody else, which is kind of funny. We can securely check you out with credit card and PayPal, and then we can also update that license at any time. You can get some additional information right here. Lastly, let's go back to employees. There's an additional button called details. So if I click that, we can now have an employee file. So what is their role within the practice? Do we want them to have access to the accounting, job title, description, keeping track of some of their personal information, credentials, their license expiration information, as well as uploading and storing some files for your employee files? How have they completed in terms of orientation, HIPAA training, CPR training, some of those things that auditors typically like to look for. And then we've got the performance log. Put whatever in there that you deem applicable. At the very bottom, we can add in some provider metrics. So tracking how many clients are on their load, how many appointments have they completed, and so on.